my main takeaway from this is this racing frequently thing. It works for her. It's not a gimmick. It clearly is effective, because you look over her last, her 2020. Obviously, there was a space there because of the pandemic, but outside of the trials, she's been running really well. I mean, in August, she runs 68 minutes and a half. Then October, she runs 2:22. And then December, she runs 2:20. And those were only, 10 weeks apart from October, November to December. A little less, actually, I think. So, I mean, the racing frequently thing works. I'm curious if she's paving the way for more people to do it. Not in the Yuki Kawauchi manner, because Yuki would have done 6-7 marathons. And as CJ Albertson brought up, sometimes Yuki's running those as training runs. He enters, he knocks out a 2:19, does some strides, and that's Sunday, then uploads to Strava, and he's all good. But like, Sara Hall's going for it in all these races. And it's not just marathons. She's throwing in 25Ks and half marathons and 10 miles, and all this stuff is in there. So she seems to have found the form. The thing that's too bad for her situation is, with the spring marathons all canceled, it's going to be a whole nother year before we get to see her really get after it, unless there's some sort of second tier marathon or non-major marathon that she can get into in the spring, maybe to chase the record again. But like, I know people say we don't like to chase times. We're about, out there going for places. I think the number one goal for her now, though, is that American record, because she's shown that she can get pretty close. And if there's no major marathon and no Olympic team to contend for in the first half of next year, why not give that a shot?
Yeah. I mean, it's awfully quick. Is Dubai canceled in January? Are they not doing that?
I'm not sure. I know she's running the rack half, so she's probably going to go for, I would guess, the American record there in the half marathon in Saudi Arabia in the first part of the year. It makes sense for her to chase these marks.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
Yeah. And I think, there's several things that make her unique. One, I mean, she is 37, so she's clearly on probably the last half decade of her career. Maybe she'll keep going well into her mid 40s, but she's racing frequently, probably as frequently as she does. Maybe doesn't make sense for a younger athlete with a lot of years left to go. Also for her, I don't think this can be overstated. I think the carbon fiber shoes, I don't want to put too much time in this. I know a lot of people will roll their eyes at saying, they'll either say, well, the shoes are clearly benefiting her more than others, or they'll say the opposite end of the spectrum. Oh, they're just shoes. Everybody has wearing them. But it seems like a lot of people say the recovery is quicker off these shoes. And maybe that's really especially so for her. I do think it's a mindset type of a thing as well. Like, we've got it so ingrained that marathoners, you run 2 a year. You have to have a full, a 2 weeks off afterwards, and then a 12-week buildup. For a lot of people, if you're not injured, I think that's probably too cautious, right? And that's if you're eager and impatient and you want to race more, and you see these opportunities go by, and you're not worried about the risk factor of it. She's not going to be worried as much at this point in her career of, maybe I'll pick up an injury here or there, or maybe I won't be fully peaked at that. Well, she's not going to worry about this, especially during this season, of which, kind of the stakes are much lower, simply because it's been a pandemic and you don't know where everyone's at physically. Well, she's going to take advantage of that by just showing up at every opportunity. And you don't want to say this situation has been beneficial for her, but it is kind of a year for her to thrive when there's so much uncertainty.